The most difficult battle we face every day is against ourselves, our insecurities, doubts, fears, injustices, our arrogance. A million voices inside yourself that have to be silenced in order for us to function. Slay the Princess reminds us of how fragile human beings are, despite masks, facades, and attempts at being something else, or someone else, even divine and superior. A beautiful visual novel filled with existential dread. The whole idea of Slay the Princess is that we are dumped in media res, without introductions or explanations. We are in the woods, heading towards a house with a single objective given by our narrator, slay the princess, or she'll end the world. Naturally, it's not nearly as simple, since our voice of the hero will provide doubts and internal narration. Should we really believe our narrator without even talking to her first? The writing continues on this whole thread of, is she really a monster or not? And the answer is, both. Slay the Princess is a commentary on existence, but also on our relationship as players with game characters. Is everything really gone when we reset the game and start again? Do our memories carry on when playing, even between different games? How can we define ourselves as players interacting with a piece of media? Mechanically, Slay the Princess functions like most visual novels. We progress through dialogue and click the desired option when we wish to interact with characters and objects. The game indicates with Explore the options which are just conversations and do not change anything, thus indicating that only acting, or rather reacting, brings changes to the plot. I'm not sure if it's by design or not, but my playthrough of Slay the Princess seemed to be almost dictated by a puppeteer. I felt like everything was perfectly clicking into place, my every choice not being wrong, but feeling like that was the way things were supposed to go. That was my intended outcome. It's like my choices were being respected by the game, instead of being mocked at or leading to a game over like countless other examples of visual novels or even adventures in general. Here's looking at you, Disco Elysium. In this, Slay the Princess functions like a well-oiled clock. Everything clicks, and it feels like destiny that you are at that point in time and that place. While the writing does hinge a bit too much on the is she a monster or not trope at times, especially after the first times we already been through it, everything else is just smooth and meaningful. An incredible accomplishment by the team. I was glued to the screen until it got to the end. Not many times do I complete a game in a single session without a break, but Slay the Princess had me enthralled. Graphically, the game does present an interesting conundrum. Everything is drawn by hand, like it was penciled in. There's definitely a pinch of anime style in how the princess is drawn, and her especially huge eyes were initially a bit distracting. But in the end, they lend themselves perfectly to how she will change and modify her whole being and appearance with every twist and turn of the plot. The horror is definitely there, heightened by the sound design, but it does never go overboard. Definitely more of psychological horror than a somewhat bland gore fest. A note for the voice acting was all done by two actors, doing all the voices for all different internal voices of the hero and the princess, numerous shapes as well. Quite a feat indeed. Well done. Slay the Princess is one of the best visual novels of the year, if not one of the best narrative games period. With a well-oiled plot that leads the player down twists and turns, perfect clockwork of dialogue and choices that will leave us questioning our very existence and being, along with a satisfying ending, regardless. This is one that fans of adventure games won't really want to miss, but I think all lovers of good fiction should definitely want to grab that dagger and get to work. Voxel Smash scores Slay the Princess 10 out of 10. This is an existentially horrific visual novel with an incredibly well-written plot, beautiful score, and graphics that will enrapture all senses. One of the best narrative games of 2023. This was Damiano Gerli, writing for Voxel Smash.
Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What?
She's right about one thing.
Like I said, it's all. So do you trust me?
She's wrong.
Oh, have you?
You know. You have to be kidding. You walk up to the chains binding the princess. They're large and heavy, too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended...
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to find them. You attempt to make your way out of the basement. Is someone else here? You make your way back to the bottom of the stair. Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me. Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. You're here to slay her. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is? I'm not so sure running away is the best idea. We're not the only person stuck here. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Somehow I doubt that, but fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do that, fine. You turn around and trek back down the path you came.
Wait, something isn't right. Can you still hear me? You're supposed to wind up back at the cabin again. Everything is getting... What's going on? Where are we? Did we do this? Is this the end of the world? Was there ever even a world to end?